All right, Alex, we made it. Our final part here of our Kaldheim limited set review, looking at the lands and colorless cards. I guess we already looked at a few lands in the multicolor section, but most of the lands here, colorless cards. Again, just to remind folks, actually, here we will still be splitting it up into common, uncommon, rare, CMC, along the way there in each of those rarities, doing our 5Rs. If you made it this far, you're aware: raw power, reasons, rewards, role players, and replaceables, subcategories for those middle 3Rs as well. All right, first up, we're lumping together all 10 of the snow dual lands. So to remind folks, we've got snow lands and snow duals replacing the basic land in every pack. So 24 available to you in a draft.
Mm-hmm.
So where are we at here? And perhaps, as chat's already pointed out to us, perhaps we need to delineate between or put a separation between the green ones and the others.
Yeah, so I mean, I think you can first pick these out of a weak pack, right? Either the snow duels or the snow basics, even. It's gonna be hard to really grok exactly how much of a reasonable strategy that is until we get our hands on the set. Because you could the analog that we're making here is you could do that in Modern Horizons, right? You could just take all the snowlands, pack one, and you could, if you're like, oh, good, I have 7 of the snowlands out of the 8 packs that were opened, like you're probably in good shape for the rest of the draft, right? I don't know if the payoffs are as good or good enough that you really want to be taking snowlands first. And like in Modern Horizons, you'd be like, okay, I take the snowlands, I'm going to be basically guaranteed a good deck.
Right.
I don't know if that's the case here, right? So I don't know if you want to be first picking them in a weak pack even.
Yeah, and
they're going to be very
have
good.
To see.
You should prioritize these cards if you have pulls in. But
yeah, my guess is this is a reward for being in snow. But there's a lot buried there, and yes, I think maybe the green ones and the blue-black one are above the rest, right? Maybe you don't care as much about the Boros or the Rakdos snow duels or whatever, or the red and black snowlands, but not. I think let's not get caught in the weeds there.
Yeah, exactly.
The other one here we have is Shimmerdrift Vale, and I believe this is just a common, right?
Yeah, I guess that's important to note that the duels and the basics, because this is a question that gets asked a lot, is the basic land slot is replaced with a snow basic and a duel, right? One or the other. And what that means for Arena, because this is not something intuitive if you only play on Arena, is that there is an extra card in the pack, right? We're going to see 15 cards in these packs, right?
I hadn't thought about that, though. We're just going to actually see an extra card.
Yeah. So we have Shimmerdrift Vale here, which is... Did we read the card already?
No, we haven't.
Okay, sorry. We got Shimmerdrift Vale, enters the battlefield tapped. It's a snowland. When it enters the battlefield, you choose a color, and you can tap to add 1 color of any chosen color.
Yeah, I mean, it's Snow Evolving Wilds for all intents and purposes.
Snow Evolving Wilds, exactly. Which is weird that they hadn't come across this design before. Like, it's weird to me that they didn't want to reduce the amount of shuffling in games before.
Right? Yeah.
But anyways, this is in the common slot, not in the land slot, right? So each draft is going to have something like 27, 28 snowlands in it, right? Yeah. Could have 24, right? And anywhere between like 24 and 28, really.
I think this is a good card. I think this is. I mean, it's a role player, right? How high can you give a card this great? But and I think obviously better in the Dimir, or probably better in the I guess it's just in non-white decks or decks that are more inclined to care about snow. But I'd say this is a role player in snow for sure.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think so too.
Because I think that's the deck that care. Like, it's hard for me to imagine. I mean, you might just have a couple of these and splash something, perhaps. But I think you are more likely to just be playing this in it. Like the snow, I think that's overlapping with snow most of the time.
Yep.
All right, Funeral Longboat. 2 mana, 3/3 vehicle. Vigilance, crew 1.
Yeah, so you were arguing for this card on the podcast. Ben was against this card on the podcast. I don't think... I think I'm got to give this one to Ben. I think this card just isn't inherently powerful enough and doesn't synergize with enough. So, like, the thing is, The dwarf stuff, like only a few of the cards care about vehicles, like one or two.
Right. It's not lumped
Some are, like,
into equipment
are
only.
actually just equipment and artifacts. Or sorry, equipment and enchantments. So like, I don't think this quite does enough. There's gonna be like this, in the 1/3 meta, this card's quite good, right?
But in the 3/2 meta, it's not.
Yeah, exactly. In the 3/2 meta,
I think now that I think this card has some like pushed power in terms of a common in my mind. But looking at it in the context of the set, now that we've like poured over every card for the past 8 hours or whatever, I don't see the home for this.
Yep. I would say this is replaceable.
I think this is replaceable. I think I agree with that assessment.
All right. Next up here we have Gold Vein Pick. So this is 2 mana for an equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+1. It has an equip cost of 1. So, so far it's a slightly worse short sword, but it says whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, create a treasure token.
Oh, so this is actual short sword. No, I guess because it costs 2. Never mind.
Yeah.
I gotta say, Alex, I don't get the treasure thing here. Is this just one of their like, we're putting a few treasure things in this set because treasure's gonna be a big deal in a future set type thing?
Well, treasure's just kind of been like this deciduous mechanic where they just say like, "Well, just bring it in sometimes," basically, right? So yeah, I don't really get it either.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a flavorful thing.
I guess.
It's a Viking thing, yeah. But I mean, you put this on a flyer. We had a very similar card to this in Ixalan, right? It's Prying Blade.
Yeah, it was gave +1/+0.
Yeah, and I mean,
that card wasn't good.
I imagine this isn't good.
Yeah, I imagine this isn't good as well. All right, next up, I think this card is quite good. Raven Wings, 2 mana, artifact equipment. It has an equip cost of 2, and the equipped creature gets +1/+0, has flying, and is a bird in addition to its other types. This is a Rune's best friend.
Yeah, this is nice. Not the blue one, but all the other ones.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, this is the one equipment in the set, or the one like colorless equipment in the set. I'm actually like, if I want an equipment, this is my go-to. Yeah. Right, I actually want this.
I mean, this effect is good. Yeah, this adding power is good. Oftentimes we see this effect and it's just straight up good. Like like Cobbled Wings overperforms whatever it was from Theros, Wings of Hubris. These effects are always overperform, and I think this even this has an additional cost for the equip cost. I think the additional power is important here.
Yeah, like this isn't just like a generic like, put this in every single one of your aggregate cards. Like I think you do want to care about equipment in some respect, right?
Well, I also think I failed my draft and now I've drafted green and I need a way to win. This also does that,
Get your honey mammoth in.
But I think that makes it a role player for me.
Yep.
In a variety of decks, so like we could say black-white, or we say red-white / runes / aggro. A lot of homes for that. All right, Raiders Carve.
Yeah, so this is 3 mana for a 4/4 crew 3 vehicle. So that's yikes. That's crew 3 is a lot for
crew 3 is a lot. I think people don't. The gap between crew 2 and crew 3 is massive.
Yeah. Whenever Raiders. What is this? Narv?
I'm just saying carve. Carve.
Yeah, carve. Okay. Attacks. Look at the top card of your library. If it's a land, you may put it onto the battlefield tapped.
I'm out on this card personally.
We were just saying this is a 3/2 format, and that might make people say like, "Oh, crew 3 is going to be easy, right?" But like, why do I want this card over just another 3/2? Like, you get a little bit of a stat boost, a small stat boost, right? And like the land is pretty inconsequential.
Yeah. Pass on that. All right. Score an effigy. 3 mana, 2/3 Scarecrow with Foretell 0, another reduction.
Yeah. So for the double spell deck.
Yeah, it's pretty cute for the double spell deck, actually.
Yeah, it's kind of cute. I mean, it's also like, Foretell on 2, flip this up, play something else. Now I do have blockers. I think this card is more cute than good, basically. Yeah, I don't think you're going to have that many problems double spelling. I think that this card is just a bit too low power.
Replaceable as well, I would agree.
Yeah, I think so.
Moving on to the uncommons, we've got Weathered Runestone. This is a 2 mana artifact. Non-land permanent cards in graveyards and libraries can't enter the battlefield, and players can't cast spells from graveyards or libraries. This is not a limited card.
I was gonna say there weren't many cards in the set. Part of the reason we took so long is there are not many cards that were just like, this is not good. Pass on this. This is not for limited.
Yeah.
So many cards do things. This one is thankfully one that doesn't. And we can just not talk about it.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, we got Bloodline Pretender. So this is 3 mana for a 2/2 changeling artifact creature. When Bloodline Pretender enters the battlefield, you choose a creature type. Whenever another creature of the chosen type enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on Bloodline Pretender.
So this will very likely be a 3/3 on your next turn.
Right.
At its baseline, you could just name the next creature you're going to play.
So this is like an elf card, I guess, because you...
But it can also be blue-green, where you've got just shapeshift. Like when you have, like, this just triggers off of any changeling too.
I think ultimately this is still just replacement level.
Agreed.
Yeah, this is a thing that's like, eh.
I do like Replicating Ring. 3 mana snow artifact, add 1 mana, tap to add 1 mana of any color. So it's just a snow manolith. And then it has a lot of text. That does not matter. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a night counter on Replicating Ring. Then if it has 8 or more night counters on it, remove all of them and create 8 colorless snow artifact tokens named Replicated Ring with tap, add 1 mana of any color.
Yep.
I think this is a role player in snow.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, and chat the comparison, Diamond Knight, remember that card from a few core sets back to the changeling there, where it was like, comes down, with Diamond Knight, you call the color, and it would get better.
Gained life, right? Oh, Diamond Knight was the ++1. I'm thinking Diamond Knight.
Yeah. So that's in that card, it was like, whatever. And that one had Vigilance too, so. Rune Crown. So this card's actually kind of exciting. So this is 3 mana. Rune Crown, it's an equipment. When Rune Crown enters the battlefield, you may search your library, hand, and or graveyard for a rune card. So if you got a rune card in your deck, you're gonna get it. And put it onto the battlefield attached to Rune Crown. If you search your library this way, shuffle it, equip creature gets +1/+1 and has a equip cost of 2. This is pretty sick, actually.
This is a reason to rune, baby.
So this alone, this is a cantripping equipment. If you
have runes.
I like this card quite a bit, I think basically with any of the runes, even the green rune is okay, right? Yeah. Like a cantripping equip, like +2/+2 for equip 2 moving around. That's pretty good. A cantripping, the death touch is probably one of the lesser exciting ones, but still fine.
And we're saying cantrip not because it finds a rune, because the rune replaces itself.
Yes, the rune replaces itself, exactly. Yes. Yeah, I like this. I think this
is a reason to rune, baby.
Yeah, reason to rune.
Faceless Haven is our first rare here. It's a snow land. It taps for generic mana. And you can pay 3 snow to have it become a 4/3 creature with vigilance and all creature types until end of turn.
Yeah, it's fine. We've seen lands like this before. They're not super exciting.
The thing about a colorless land in the snow deck is it seems like a yikes.
Yeah,
because
totally fine.
Yeah, I think this is probably not. I guess it's a role player in snow.
Role player in snow. Yeah, it's like you'll. I would say reward maybe, because you're gonna get this late and you're like, okay, that's like a nice little thing, I'd say reward.
Yeah.
All right.
You say reward for snow.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Tyrite Sanctum, land. Tap to add colorless. 2 tap. Target legendary creature becomes a god. In addition to its other types, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Or 4 mana, sacrifice the Sanctum. Put an indestructible counter on target god.
No, I mean, I guess it's a.
Yeah,
this is replaceable. We don't need to talk about this card.
Sorry, it's a constructed-ish, Johnny commander card.
Speaking of, we've got Pyre of Heroes.
That's not true. Changeling. That's actually kind of interesting.
Wait, but it has to be a legendary changeling first.
But you make your changeling indestructible.
Oh, that's not worth a card.
It's a land, though. Yeah, I think it's like close to. Yeah, that's actually decent. Making anything indestructible is not bad. It's not okay. So it's not good, but it's not an unplayable. Like I thought this was like a never play, but this isn't a never.
So maybe role player with changeling.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, it's not about the legends. It's about the changeling.
Okay. All right. Next up, we've got Pyre of Heroes. 2 mana for an artifact. 2 tap, sack a creature. Search your library for a creature card that shares a creature type with a sacrificed creature and has CMC cost equal to 1 plus that creature's CMC. Put that card onto the battlefield and then shuffle your library, only at sorcery speed.
I mean, I don't think this is going to be real, but
even with changelings in mind, I don't think
I would love to be proved wrong, but I don't think there's just not enough into the battlefield effects. I don't think that's what you need for these cards to be good. You need into the battlefield effects that are actually making headway when you're sacking your creatures. I think this is probably not for us, I would assume.
All right, what's up next?
Yeah, Cosmos Elixirs. This is 4 mana for an artifact. At the beginning of your end step, draw a card. If your life total is greater than your starting life total... Oh, I put the wrong emphasis on that syllable there. At the beginning of your end step, draw a card if your life total is greater than your starting life total. Otherwise, you gain 2 life. This card's great. This card's quite good.
Talk to me about this card.
So at a base level, this is a control card for sure. But at a base level, this is Honden of Fire, Searing Fire, or whatever that card was, right? And that was a good control card. We've seen variants of that where it's like this incidental passive life gain is like just a thing. It keeps you alive. Like life gain gets a bad rap. I think like pure life gain gets a bad rap. It is true you're not supposed to just cast cards. It's just like gain 6 life. That's not good. Repeatable life gain is much better. And we've seen this effect in the past, and it's been quite good, again, to keep you alive. I understand that Hondens had other Hondens to go with them, but just having that white Honden was good. This is I agree with, there's a few people in chat saying this is a game warping effect. It's not quite like warping, but this really alters the flow of the game. Look, a lot of times aggro decks, they thrive on getting you to 10, 8, and then waiting a bit to draw an extra combat trick, draw their wings, that wing card. There's things that help them get in, or just draw more creatures to overwhelm them. This says no to that. Absolutely no. And then eventually it starts to draw you cards. Yeah. This card's quite good.
I'm sold. Reason to control, baby.
Yeah, reason to control.
All right, our last card here. Maskwood Nexus. 4 mana artifact. Creatures you control are every creature type. The same is true for creature spells you control and creature cards you own that aren't on the battlefield. Pay 3, tap, create a 2/2 blue shapeshifter creature token with Changeling.
Birthing Bows, baby.
Yeah, Birthing Bows, which was not good in Modern Horizons.
No, but that was a really fast format. I think it's going to be better in this format. Like that was a very high powered format. I think this card's actually quite good. Also that first line text is not nothing, right?
Yeah, it will have it will open up a lot of random applications.
Yeah. You're not gonna build towards it, I don't think, but you're randomly gonna, that Flame Tongue Kavu Giant's gonna deal more damage, or you're just things here and there. So this card I think is also good. I think this is a reason to be probably a controlling deck as well.
A reason to control or ramp or snow or whatever. All right, well, that's gonna do it. Let's any final parting thoughts here, Alex, or big picture things now that we've seen the whole set?
Did you I don't know, maybe you don't want to do this, but just going over each gold archetype quickly, just think about our thoughts after we've seen everything.
Sure, yeah, now that we've seen everything. So back to let's start with blue white.
So I think blue white is just like a decent controlling foretelling deck, right? I think there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of overlapping synergies with the black white deck, but it's just going to be a bit more lower, slower, maybe play a little more at instant speed, kind of what blue does. I'm excited for blue-white. I guess one of the things that's interesting, or that maybe I'll note, is that the ones that I'm excited about and the ones I'm not so excited about. I think blue-white is one of the decks I'm excited about.
Yeah, I agree. I think blue-white's going to have a lot of play to it, for sure. Next, we've got blue-black, which seems a little, if we look at Narfi, Trickster God's Heist, Port of Carfell, all powerful cards. When I think of snow, I am thinking much more about green.
Yeah.
Base green, whether that's green, red, green, blue, green, black. I think that can be any of those. I'm not really thinking about Dimir Snow. So it's interesting if I think about Narfi, perhaps that feels more like, now that we're looking at stuff, feels more like a splash card to me. Than perhaps going base blue, black, snow. Blue, black seems a little nebulous to me in a way.
lacking some cohesion, some synergy, which is fine. I
I
think you can
think
still have a good
I think blue
black
and
deck.
black have good cards, and so it
Yes,
might
and
just
they
be
have,
like, and they have
I
good
think
uncommon. So perhaps it's just like good card
I
deck.
think they less explicit synergy, right? They don't have like,
Yes,
look, this deck is doing a
exactly.
thing, right?
Yeah.
But
So
I think the cards actually do play well together.
all right, next we've got Rakdos. What do you think about that?
Similar, I think, to Blue Black, where it's not like a theme, but I'm excited. Like, I think again, the power level of the gold cards is really nice. I think again the commons do play well together. So again, I think it's another one that I am very optimistic, cautiously optimistic about.
Sure. Okay. Next up, we've got Gruul. I mean, I think I am gonna start. I think I'm gonna start being very clear about why I'm getting into green. Uh, but I do think green snow looks good. I think if that's what you're supposed to do, I think you're gonna get a good deck.
Right, I think green red and blue green, and green black a little bit too. I think these ones are they're gonna blend together a little bit.
Yes, I
I
think
would
so.
say,
Well,
right?
it's sort of
Like
how it's how
they're gonna
green
bleed.
was in Zendikar. Like outside of blue green kicker, your green decks were mostly the same. It just like what were the other colors doing to fill in?
Yep.
Green white. I think you may be onto something here with a little boggles action. Um, I'm looking out for that. Otherwise, I do think this is going to be a deck that you're rarely going to get into.
Yeah, I think so too.
But you know but Maya and Fall of the Imposter both do what I anticipate green white wants to do.
Yep, I think
So
so as well.
black white I'm super pumped for.
Yeah, I think this is again one of the more synergistic decks.
And it's
Uh,
gonna be interesting to see like which commons support the deck more. You know, does that imp end up being good or bad? Is Village Right super important or not? Like those sorts of things I think are going to be interesting. How aggressive, how grindy is the deck?
yep.
All right, blue red.
I think I was low on Blu-ray at first. But I think I'm a little more excited after like just conceptualizing it as like a control deck.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, like maybe it wins with these big monsters, but maybe not, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think I'm excited for blue red as well.
And it makes those, especially that like 1/4 flyer in blue. That feels
Right,
pretty. That
right.
feels very gluey to me at the moment.
Yeah, I think so too.
Black green.
I'm not as excited about black green. I mean, maybe
Uh huh.
the elf stuff just doesn't do it for me. I don't know. Maybe I'll have to see it in action, but it just
It doesn't
seems
feel like the elf stuff.
there's no
Like
good
even
payoff.
when it comes together, you don't get the payoffs that much.
Yeah,
Like
like what's the
yeah,
I just don't know why I would want to draft elves.
I agree. I mean, Binding of the Old Gods, very very powerful. But like your green snow drafter is just snapping that up.
Yep.
All right, red white. I'm actually kind of excited about this deck.
Yeah, I think this card's good.
Um,
And I think that just like the red and white cards, again, maybe it's not the most overtly synergistic deck, but I think the cards play well together, right?
yeah. And then lastly, we've got Simic.
Simic, yeah. Again, I think it's gonna be a base for snow. You're not doing like shapeshifter tribal or anything, but a
Yeah.
base for snow is a perfectly fine thing to be. I think that one's gonna be I think we've talked about it, but the snow stuff I think is gonna be its own thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Sweet,
All right, sweet. Well,
gonna
thank
do
you
it.
all for hanging out. This was a beast of a set review, and thank you, Alex, for as always for sharing your expertise here. Always nice
Yeah,
to get
thank you so
to
much
hear your
for
thoughts
inviting
on the
me.
new cards. All right,